Grand Rising, everyone. Pray that everyone is well, that you rested well. My name is Iabola. I am the daughter of Maureen and Dr. Richard Smith and Stephen Tyson. I am the granddaughter of Violet and Jacob Chevalier of Brodell and Cecil Smith. I am the great granddaughter of Lisa Benoit and Eddie Benoit, Vickers Tyson and Lucille Tyson. And I greet you all today on this day 2 of our Rooted Reset. I hope that everyone is well, and we'll talk a little bit about what we covered yesterday and where we're going today. I want to do quickly a mic check and make sure everyone can hear me. So if you can hear me, just pop it in the chat so that I'm sure, and then we'll continue. Welcome, 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 everyone. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you for the confirmation. So this is day 2. Those of you who were with us yesterday, we began our journey talking about truth and trust and why it's important for us to restore trust, specifically in the body, so that as we're going through these movements, we're able to begin again. We're able to use the energy of the equinox to recalibrate things that may be happening in our body, or trust or truths that need to emerge. We talked a little bit about the importance of honoring truth right now, and understanding that there is a frequency shift. And so whenever there's a frequency shift, meaning we're moving from one state to the other, we're also going to feel it in our bodies first. So recognizing if you're feeling tired, if you have anxiousness, if there are spaces in your body that are holding tension, to pay close attention to that, because it has a lot to do with this frequency shift that we're experiencing right now. So I appreciate everyone being here with us this morning. We're going to jump right in. So yesterday we talked about truth, and today we're going to talk about progress. What do we need, and how does truth and progress move together so that we can get to a clear space of working through the equinox? So today on day 2, we are looking at progress and choice, right? Movement begins when truth is honored. Yesterday, we spent a lot of time talking about truth and trust. What happens when trust is broken? What happens when we feel it in our bodies? And what do we do to restore those spaces for ourselves? So today, we're going to talk about what happens when truth is honored and it becomes the opportunity for movement to happen, for progress to happen. So as I share in each of our sessions, please take your time and create your space. I'm grateful for each and every one of you who's taken this time to invest in yourselves, to give yourself a moment to be able to honor who you are and who you're becoming. So take some time to also prepare your ritual space. Make sure you have your journal, you have your plant ally. We'll talk about today's medicine as well. If you have flower essences, you can bring that with you. And this is an opportunity for us to think about or begin our presetting our understanding around where we want to see movement, right? What kind of movement do we want to embody in this time period? You can take some of those of you who were here with us yesterday, those truths that were emerging that we wrote about, to keep those at the forefront of your mind and to choose one to continue on this journey of creating movement. So just a recap of where we are. Yesterday, we talked about and we listened to the idea of truth, what it means to listen to our bodies and listen to what they're saying, either through the words that we speak or through the spaces where we feel tension, the spaces where we feel constriction, because that's usually a space that lets us know what's happening. I'll share the example with me when we did our breathing and our grounding yesterday. I asked everyone to notice where you feel tight, right? Without overthinking it, really do a scan of your body and notice where you felt tight. Or notice where your body also expanded. And for me, it was usually my lower back is where your kidneys exist. And that's also a space where fear can exist. And so sometimes I'll feel a lot of tension in that space. But yesterday, when we did the breathing exercise, I felt a lot of expansion. There wasn't any constriction there. But the places where I did feel constriction, which was very specific, was on my right hip. And so working through the day and understanding that there's some tension in my right hip. It's also the space of your hips is places where holds trauma. During the winter time, specifically when we are walking in ice or walking in snow. If you all are in New York, you know we have snowstorms, it's cold, that our bodies also holds that tension. So sometimes we have to do some extra stretches, some extra hip circles to release some of that and some of the fear that comes with possibly falling or injuring ourselves during that time. So today we are going to explore what happens when truth is recognized and truth invites us to make choice, right? Because with choice comes movement, comes progress. We have the ability to choose. The question is, have we been choosing based on our truth, or have we been choosing in order to get along? And this is a really powerful season because when the truth that emerges informs your choice, you will be in alignment. And that's something that we talked about yesterday as well. What happens when our truths are in alignment and what happens when truth is misaligned, right? Misalignment causes the contraction, causes the pain, causes illness or dis-ease or disease in the body and in the mind. Whereas alignment allows for us to breathe, allows for us to feel safe, allows for us to make choices or have access to different choices when we are in a space of alignment. So today we're going to explore choice. That's choice that's made with intention. And then as we go into tomorrow, we'll start looking at what that movement actually looks like. How do we carry that into the world? And it's going to be a powerful session because it will actually be the spring equinox day. So today, yesterday's energy or guiding energy was with Eshu, right? Eshu, the keeper of the crossroads. Those who know him in Esheshe tradition or even Lukumi traditions and all of the traditions, many times they say that he is a trickster. My relationship with Eshu is very different. I believe that he is the one who asks us to be courageous in our choice. And what we choose is what he helps us to manifest, right? So when we need to be courageous and we need to be brave and when we need to deal with truth, that is the place that becomes a reflection of that. And then all of the things that manifest after that is based on that choice or that truth that we're moving forward with. And so we talked a lot about what that means and how there are different essences and different flowers that can also help us with acknowledging and restoring trust and truth and our inner voice. And so yesterday we talked about Serato and we talked about the flower essence truth. Today we're going to talk about what it means to progress, what it means to begin moving. And the way in which we move is thinking about path clearing, right? Thinking about creating new pathways, thinking about creating new blueprints for ourselves in this season. And so we ask Ogun to help us to clear the path. And so Ogun is the deity of iron, of labor, of clearing obstacles, also of technology, of the tools that we use in order to do this work. And so Ogun embodies the sacred power of purposeful action, right? That we are very clear about where we're going. We're very clear about how we're getting there. And we're very clear that sometimes, in order for us to get there, it requires us to create new pathways. That pathway doesn't exist. But if we trust and we're walking in our truth, what we're creating, what we're working on, what we're deciding to do will create a new pathway for those who come afterwards. So this is a very passionate area for me, because it's one of the things that I think everything that I've done, everything that I've created has been about this understanding of purposeful action, right? Purposeful understanding, getting an idea, getting a assignment from the ancestors, or something that comes up, and knowing that in order for it to be created, many times I was creating a new pathway. It didn't exist before, right? And so I had to trust that I was being given this task to do, and that what was going to be created is a new blueprint for how I would be able to do this work moving forward. And it's been an amazing journey. So I'm going to take you through some of that thought process as well today, as we begin to again plant the seeds for this new season and figure out how to really ground ourselves in purposeful action. One of the other essences of Ogun, or this energy, is understanding how to cut through or relieve yourself of things that no longer serve you, so that you can forge new and clear paths ahead. So really excited to work in this energy. It's very different from the energy of truth. However, if you think about them and create icons for each of them, right? So the truth piece is really about holding up the mirror, right? And allowing the truth to emerge, not overthinking it, knowing what you know. As we said yesterday, I know what I know. So knowing what you know and allowing that to come to the surface. Then the second part is, okay, now that I know what I know, what do I do with it, right? In this action, Ogun represents strength, right? It's about the inner resources that sustain us through difficult times and opposition or resistance, right? We're going to get resistance no matter what we do. But I want you to think about a forest. I want you to think about any place, no matter where you live. When they decided that they were going to clear the road to put your apartment and put your house in that space, there was nothing there. So they had to create a new pathway. And so we want to understand that sometimes we're going to get resistance. Sometimes there's going to be times where it's not working the way that we want to work. But part of what we need to do is understand that because we have this choice to move ourselves forward, that we will also have the resources to do that. It requires us to think about the tools when we're doing that work. The next thing to think about is courage, right? It's the willingness to move even when the path ahead feels uncertain. And that's the biggest part that we forget. That when we're thinking about purposeful action, we are also having to be courageous in that space. It doesn't exist. We're creating a new pathway. It doesn't exist. So it requires us to be courageous in order for us to see the path created. And then the third thing to think about is the idea of clearing, right? That in order for energy to move freely, we have to continue to get rid of things that may be holding us back, mentally, spiritually, physically. Whatever those things are, this is a good season to begin removing those things. I shared yesterday, many times you will find that you will feel during this time, during this frequency shift, that you may want to fast. And that's a natural thing to happen. Why? The body wants to clear itself out so it can begin anew. You may do a juice fast. You may do a raw food fast. But these are the ways in which the body is also indicating it understands that a new frequency is happening. You may seem to want to sleep more, right? Again, sleep hygiene is really, really important. Rest is extremely important, because rest is the way in which we integrate. right? And so when we're not getting enough rest, the body doesn't understand. It knows something is happening, but it doesn't have enough time for it to integrate into your everyday of being. So we want to think about the energy of Ogun today as an opportunity to create new pathways. What in your life, where in your life during this season do you want to create a new pathway? You want to create a new opportunity. You want to choose differently in order for you to see a different result. This is the power of Ogun. This is the power of thinking about how we're going to move forward. And then also thinking about what tools do I have in order to do that work. You all can let me know if any of this resonates, or if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. So we talk a little bit about when truth is delayed, right? Because everything that we're working on is based on truth. It can only forge forward and have some place to live when we're walking in truth. So often we already know what's true, right? We talked about we know what we know. The answer has been living quietly inside of us, patient, waiting, yet something holds us at the threshold, right? Hesitation is human, but prolonged hesitation can carry a cost. Meaning, knowing that you need to make some movement, knowing that you need to do some, make some shifts, and not doing them can also cost you progress. So, one of the things that it will do is it will create stagnation, right? Energy that cannot move begins to pool. This will dim your vitality, your ability to continue to forge forward. It will dampen your energy and it will block your flow. So, stagnation is the first thing that you'll see. The second thing that you'll see is frustration, right? There'll be a gap between what you know and what you do, which creates inner friction. Again, I'm going to say that again. The frustration is a gap between what we know and what we do, which creates inner friction, right? It's this kind of quiet, persistent discomfort. It's that dis-ease that you feel in your belly when you know, oh yeah, I probably should have had this conversation with these folks a while ago. And every time I see their number pop up or I see an email come from them, I get, ooh, that's the only way I can describe it. Like that feeling comes up and I don't want to deal with it. That's the frustration because we know that we should have said something, or we needed to have a conversation, or we needed to clarify our understanding around what's happening. But what we're doing does not align with that. Again, this idea of being out of alignment creates inner friction. And so we feel the discomfort. It becomes persistent. It almost becomes a space where we're also bracing for that discomfort all the time. And who wants to walk in that space? That isn't an authentic space to walk in. So we have to look at that as well. The last place where we see truth being delayed is scattered energy, right? Avoidance sends our attention in many directions at once, leaving little fuel for what truly matters. Those moments when you feel extremely scattered, many times can be because you're avoiding looking in the mirror, looking at the truth, knowing the truth and letting it emerge and sitting with it. And so what happens is naturally the body and the mind is like, well, if you're not going to pay attention to it, I'm not paying attention to it. And so it starts making you scattered. You become unfocused. You're not sure why you're becoming unfocused, but you're unfocused. You can't finish that task. You go to sit down, you won't be able to get through it. And so the question becomes, well, what am I avoiding? Again, being able to allow that truth to emerge helps us to be able to focus on and ensure that our energy is focused in a very specific way. So progress begins the moment that we honor the truth that already exists, right? That we recognize that truth that already exists. And not when conditions are perfect, but when they feel aligned, right? We always will say, oh, I'm waiting for. But what happens when we know what we know and we say, I'm going to step forward because I know what I know. I'm not going to wait for all of the elements that I think should occur to occur, right? Because many times this is the space that allows us to create a new pathway. trusting who we are, understanding who we are, and then taking that one step, right? It requires one step. There is a African proverb that says every journey begins with one step, just one. It's a small action. It requires us to recognize truth and create the opportunity for one action, not a whole bunch, just one action. And that begins the beginning of movement and progress. Again, if anything is resonating or you have a question, feel free to pop it in the chat. So, we want to talk about the power of choice, right? Choice is a sacred act. Every decision, however small, is a direction given to your energy. Again, choice is a sacred act. This is something that I think we don't spend enough time understanding, and it's something that we have to do every day. It seems really small, and you know, conversations with clients and conversations with my family and my partner, and just, sometimes we just talk about like, what does it mean to choose yourself every day? What does it mean to choose your partner every day? What does it mean to choose joy every day? That's a choice, right? The world can literally be going to hell in a handbasket, which unfortunately it is right now. But we get to choose how we experience this life. And that's the part that we don't understand, that the macro believes that because they put us in certain conditions, that means that we have to do what they're doing. And the honest understanding is when we live in a bigger ecosystem, that we actually have choice. We get to choose how we experience our world every day, right? We get to choose our communities. We get to choose our families. We get to choose joy. We get to choose happiness. We get to choose peace. Those are things and choices that are sacred and that we can't throw away because the world is going to hell in a handbasket. That is the most sacred thing that we have for ourselves, because when we choose that, then the energy of the universe understands how to support that choice. When we don't make that choice and we're not clear about that choice, chaos will then ensue. Right? To choose is to declare what matters. It is a declaration of what matters. To choose is to participate consciously in your own becoming. Again, when we leave it up to, well, whatever's happening is happening, we give up our sacred act of choosing, which means we're not going to consciously focus on the things that matter. If your peace matters, then you have to choose it, right? If love matters, then you have to choose it. That's a choice you make every day. It's not something someone puts upon you. It's something that you get to consciously choose. I choose joy. I choose happiness. I choose peace. I choose to love. I choose to expand. Right? It's different. No one else can create that for you. That's your choice. And that is the thing that I talk about in our human experiences, right? We talk about destiny. We talk about us as human beings. We are the only creature in the ecosystem that gets to choose. The cat doesn't get to choose what it wants to do. The cat is a cat. The cat does the things that the cat does. A dog is a dog. I always like to use the example of the cockroach. The cockroach doesn't get to choose. The cockroach is here, has a purpose. That's what it's here for. It does that every day. It doesn't get tomorrow to be like, I don't want to be a roach anymore. I want to be a butterfly. Nope. That's not how it works. It's the same way how a butterfly goes through the whole process of becoming a butterfly. It can't be in the middle when it's in the cocoon, be like, I don't want to be a butterfly. I want to come out as a bird. That's not a choice. It doesn't have that ability. But us as human beings, we have that ability. We have the ability to choose. We sometimes forget about what that looks like and how important it is for our individual selves every day to create that sacredness of choice. So, as we talk about choosing and the power of choice, what small action would you move in your life today? What small action in your life do you want to move forward today? What small action in your life do you want to move forward today? Take a moment to reflect. Reflect honestly on this question without judgment. Allow it to come to the top. Decide and name that small, true, and tangible next step. Excuse me. And then understand what it means to take that step. Progress does not require perfection, it just requires choice and action. So take a moment, and once you've decided what the small action is, I would like you to pop it into the chat. All right, any thoughts? So I'll give a 30 more seconds here. Again, if you've made your choice or what you'd like to reflect on, please go ahead and pop it into the chat. Okay. I'm going to keep moving us forward, but as you all pop things into the chat, we can come here. So today's plant ally is nettle. And so we settled on nettle today as today's companion. One, because it is considered a wild plant that's deeply nourishing, and it helps us to sustain our human vitality. It is prickly on the surface, if you've ever experienced nettle, and profoundly generous at its core. Nettle is a fitting guide for this work around progress. And so I use nettle in lots of different ways. We use it to nourish the womb. We use it to nourish the body, specifically if we are feeling tired or under weather. It helps to build your iron. So it helps with this idea of vitality, which is a part of being able to choose, right? Being able to move forward, being able to have movement in the body. So one of the places where it is around vitality and nourishment, right? It's dense in minerals. It helps to feed the blood, as I shared before, and the body. Its strength during change, right? So it supports the nervous system through transition. Again, we've talked about this frequency change that's occurring right now. And so nettle is a great herb to kind of incorporate into your tea drinking or any kind of herbal practice that you have, because it really will help to support transitioning during this frequency. And then it's about resilience, right? Nettle is one of those herbs that is an invitation to remain rooted when you're going forward, that it's important to stay rooted. So, symbolically, nettle reminds us that progress requires nourishment. Like we cannot sustain movement forward if we're an empty vessel, or if we're not taking care of the body, if we're not giving ourselves nourishment or nutrients to be able to do the work that's necessary to create new pathways. And so you want to think about that not just in your physical self, but also in your emotional and spiritual self, right? What are the things that we need to nourish ourselves during this time when we are trying to become, when we're trying to create new pathways? And what does that look like for us? So we're also going to talk about blackberry. And blackberry is our flower essence that's going to be supporting us during this time. Blackberry, I have lots of stories with blackberry, but blackberry flower essence is interesting because what it does is it helps us to move forward things that may have been stagnant without us thinking about it. One of the things that I've seen over the time that I've been doing flower essences and sharing specifically blackberry as its own individual, but also in the essence of progress, is that it will help you to move things forward that may have been stagnant for some time. Um, it the way in which it works is that it literally will have you tap into the ability to finish something. I had a client one time that was using it. She's an artist, and she said, every time I use it, I can't get up from my making table until I'm finished. Whereas she had recognized in our, conversation and helping her to witness herself, she would share, like, I would have multiple projects open at the same time on my making table, over at my sewing machine. She also made soaps, so she had soaps that were halfway made, and then she realized as she was taking the essence that she would sit at the table and finish. And that's one of the things about blackberry, that it helps you to really focus on getting to the end, and it's going to help you to continue doing that no matter what's going on around you, almost as though you put on blinders until the task is done, right? It helps with the weight of inaction and really moving us forward. So where this essence helps us to kind of build momentum, and also to build momentum in spaces where our outer expression have been timid or didn't want to be courageous in putting something out. And so it will just help us to kind of push that forward. The places where blackberry helps is overcoming stagnation, right? It dissolves the paralysis that happens with us when we have good intentions, but we don't move them forward. It helps us with regaining motivation. So it reconnects us to that inner spark. The reason why we decided we wanted to do something, the reason why we had this idea, the reason why we wanted to serve, all of those things are the places where blackberry helps us to kind of understand what's happening. And then that third piece is steady forward movement. Again, it supports consistent, grounded action, right? Step by step, day by day, understanding what it means to do that. Those small actions that become big actions that become you achieving your goal. And many times what happens is we get overwhelmed, right? We know we need to do X, and there are 14 steps to doing X. And you get to the place where you're just like, I don't want to do any of that. But you know it wants to get done. I had a client who used this particular essence one time, and one of her responses was, I started the essence, and then I had a garden project that had been on hold for literally 2 years, and I finished reorganizing it in 3 days. And she said, it didn't feel forced. It just felt like I had regained my motivation to do it. And she's like, I had lots of other projects I could have been working on, but that particular project came to the surface and we worked our way through it. And so that is the space where blackberry helps us. And that this blackberry is the lead flower in the essence progress. I want to read a little bit more about this essence as well. And then we're going to do a short visualization around progress. So the Progress Flower Essence blend promotes an empowered approach to overcoming obstacles, building self-confidence, and staying motivated through challenges. It transforms feelings of stagnation and self-doubt into the drive, energy, and perseverance needed to move forward with confidence and clarity, making progress feel attainable and achievable. The affirmation is I move forward with confidence and determination. Every step I take brings me closer to my goals, and I embrace progress unfolding in my life. So, this is the progress flower essence. So, I want us to, before we start the visualization, if anyone has anything to share, again, feel free to pop it in the chat. But I want us to take a few minutes to do a visualization for progress. So, take a moment to take a deep breath in and breathe out. Again, deep breath in and breathe out. Last time, deep breath in and breathe out. Continue your breath. And if it feels good to you, you may close your eyes. You may even lay down, whichever feels good to you at this time. Continue to breathe and remove any tension you may be feeling as your breath takes a rhythm. Now imagine yourself standing at the base of a beautiful mountain. The path to the top is clear but winding, with each step representing progress towards your goals. The sun is shining brightly, casting a warm glow over the landscape, and you can feel the energy of growth surrounding you. With each breath, see yourself taking a step forward on the path. Feel the ground beneath your feet solid and supportive. As you climb, you notice how each step builds on the last, and you begin to feel stronger, more confident, and more capable. As you move upward, see obstacles and challenges becoming smaller. As if the higher you go, the clearer the view becomes. You are progressing steadily, trusting the journey, knowing that every step forward, no matter how small, brings you closer to your destination. Take a moment as you stand and continue to climb this mountain to breathe in deeply and affirm, I am making progress every day. I am making progress every day. I am making progress every day. With each step, I grow stronger. With each step, I grow stronger. I grow more focused. I grow more focused and aligned with my goals. With each step, I grow stronger, more focused, and aligned with my goals. Continue to see the action of moving up the mountain, one step at a time, taking your breath and allowing yourself to see it clearer and clearer. And take a deep breath in and breathe out. Again, deep breath in and breathe out. And when you are ready, you may open your eyes and keep this energy or this sense of progress with you as you continue to develop in your day. Great. How are we feeling out there? What came up for you as you were doing this visualization? Wonderful. Nicole shares, more affirmed with each repetition. Beautiful. Natasha shares, I feel a bit renewed. Yeah, right. This opportunity for us to, rejuvenate during this time period is really important. Thank you all. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. So I want you to think about BlackBerry. I want you to think about, as we shared earlier, when we think about the energy of Ogun, it's not just about the idea of moving it forward, but what are the tools that we have to assist us on this journey? Right? We talked about nettle, we talked about blackberry or progress flower essence. We want to also talk about rituals that can really help us to clear the way so that we can have the capacity to move ourselves forward. So I want us to take a few minutes. We'll probably do like 2 minutes of journaling right now to do a reflection practice. As we did yesterday, we're going to, I'll read all of the questions. I'll set a timer, put a little music on, and allow you to either choose which one you want to tackle because that one resonates with you, or you can go through the process of working through each of the questions. And then we're just going to share and kind of see where we are. So this particular practice, a reflection practice today, we're going to be looking at what truths come up, where do we feel stuck, and what have we been postponing or what's stagnant so that we can move forward. So the first question says, where do I feel stuck? Name it specifically. Which area of your life feels slow, heavy, or caught? Your body, your relationship to work, your career, your creative life. Name it specifically. The second question is, what action have I been postponing? Again, we need to look at the element of truth, not what we think in our head and what all of the uh, thought processes around why we're doing it. But be honest. What action have I been postponing? What thing have you been keep returning to your mind, but you push it aside, right? Why are you pushing it aside? The third question is, what small step would create momentum, right? Not the whole journey, not all the things that you expect to happen, but in this moment, what is the one thing that you can do to create momentum? Yes? All right, so I'm going to put a little music on and I'm also going to put on my timer. And we are going to write. Again, allow yourself some time and some space. Take a deep breath in, have your journal open. I'll open the questions up a little bit more so they're bigger. Choose the one that resonates with you, or you can go through all three. And then when our time is over, we'll have some time to share. So you can begin winding down your writing. And if you would like to share, you can go ahead and begin popping it into the chat. I was able to do this work with you all during this reflection time as well, and really beginning to think bigger, right? Many times we don't do what our inner self is telling us to do because we believe that it is too big for what we understand we can do. And part of that is one, the inner knowing and trusting the inner knowing of who we're becoming. But two, it's really understanding and creating a new choice around the way in which we want to be. And so for me, it is around not just thinking bigger, but thinking about what type of life, what type of understanding do I want to have in the way in which I work in the next 5 to 10 years? And how is that building legacy? And so those were the things that I was talking about and thinking about what are the strategies that I can put forward. And I have a couple of projects that, of course, always having ideas, but never pushing them forward. And one of the small steps was it's time to push this forward. I have a couple of books that are already written that haven't been published as of yet. And so I think Spirit is pushing me to kind of push that forward. So we will see. We will see. We will see. Anyone else in this time want to share what they reflected on, which question, or something that came up for them as they were doing this process? Nicole shares, I have been postponing, or what I have been postponing, stating my truth and what I require to be in relationship and upholding the boundary of limiting access to myself. A small step I can take is practice how I will share or say what my requirements are. Yes, definitely. Thank you for sharing, Nicole. Right? It's this idea of one small step creates that journey, begins that journey, right? And once we do that, we continue to figure out what are the other things that we need to do. Thank you so much, Nicole, for sharing. Anyone else? Feel free to pop it in the chat. I'm going to keep us moving forward. Well, no, I'm going to give a few more seconds because our next thing is a collective ritual together, and then we will close out for today. So we're going to go ahead and move to our ritual for the day, right? So today, our ritual practice is going to talk about, again, clearing a path. And when you clear a path or you think about it, my family is from the Caribbean. I grew up as a small child, working the garden or working the land, using a machete that sometimes was as big as I am, to clear weeds or to clear a road or to clear a part of the garden. And so I think about this idea of clearing the path in that way. The image in my mind is that I know that there's a path that I want to create, and that I am going to use this particular ritual to remove things out of the path, right? Removing and plucking out weeds, cutting down trees, things of that nature that need to be removed. So, this is a practice where it invites you to name with honesty and compassion what is standing between you and forward movement. Again, being able to name honestly and with compassion what is standing between you and forward movement. Writing gives us a form to make it visible, meaning it's no longer in our head, it's no longer in, our subconscious, but that we're putting it onto paper so that we can now uh, physically have a space to remove it from our consciousness, right? Because we're writing and making it visible, once it is named, it can be released. So I want you to get a fresh sheet of paper. Try that again. A fresh sheet of paper. You want to either remove it from your journal or get another piece of paper that you can work with, because this piece of paper is not going to stay with us. On the top of the paper, you're going to write, "What am I clearing?" And then with care, and again, in this idea of not overthinking, you are going to begin this process. So I want us to first take a deep breath in, because sometimes we can sabotage ourselves by overthinking. So I want to get us into a space where we're not overthinking, but allowing our unconscious mind to bring it to the top of what needs to occur. So take a deep breath in and breathe out. Again, deep breath in and breathe out. Last time, deep breath in and breathe out. So the first thing that we're going to write is we're going to write one fear, a fear that has been keeping you small or still. Name it plainly and with kindness towards yourself. First thing you're going to write on the paper is a fear. And what is helpful is at the beginning of your sentence, you write, "I fear that blah, blah, blah," right? So it becomes very specific. "I fear that blah, 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 blah." So let's write the first thing, which is, "I fear that," and write what that is. State it plainly, state it truthfully, be honest with who you are. And this can connect back to what you reflected on earlier. So for me, I'm reflecting on my 1, 2, 3 from the reflection practice. And now I'm working through what this next piece is. The second thing you're going to write is one limiting belief, a story that you have been telling yourself about what is or isn't possible for you. So your second thing you're going to write down is one limiting belief. It's a story that you've told yourself about yourself that isn't it what is and isn't possible for yourself. And to help you in creating the sentence, my limiting belief about myself is, my limiting belief about myself is. And once you have written your one limiting belief, then you're going to write one obstacle, a practical or emotional block that has been standing in your way, real or perceived. A practical or emotional block that has been standing in your way, whether it is real or perceived. So you're going to begin with the obstacle that has been standing in my way. Okay. So once you have written your one fear, your limiting belief, and your one limiting belief and your one obstacle, you should have it all on your piece of paper, correct? Let me know when you are ready. You can pop it in the chat and say, I'm ready, so that we all move together. Good, thank you. I see it. Great. Good. So we are going to move through this together. Yes? So we're going to together clear the path. Together, we're going to clear the path. Thank you. Greetings, Sion. How are you? So you're going to take your piece of paper that's carrying all of the things that you do not want to continue. And you're going to begin to tear the paper, right? Let this action be symbolic that you are choosing something different now. As you are tearing the paper, and I will do it with you, you will speak aloud. I clear the path for movement, for forward movement. I clear the path 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 for forward movement. You can tear it as small as you'd like. I clear the path for forward movement. 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 And take a deep breath in and breathe out. If you have some water or you have some tea, this is a good time to drink a little. Repeat to yourself, I clear the path for forward movement. And you will take those pieces of paper that you have torn, that you have now gotten rid of, And you will either, again, flush down the toilet as we did yesterday. You can throw it in the trash away from yourself, but you want to discard it. How does that feel? How are we feeling? Mm. I know for me, I felt some instant tension being released in my neck, which is interesting because I didn't realize I was holding tension there. But how are you all feeling as you have done this particular ritual? Natasha shares, I feel as though a weight has been lifted off of you. Yeah. Hmm. And know that you can come back to this ritual and do it again at any point in your process. Thank you for sharing, Natasha. Anyone else? Mama Free shares still. Nicole shares, tears welled in my eyes as they closed when I was ripping the paper. It's an opportunity to release, right? And to honestly say what we're releasing. Um, it's pretty powerful, actually. Really powerful, actually. So I want you to take a moment, and this is why I said once you've released, take a moment to sip some water or to drink your tea, um, because this is an opportunity again to also nourish yourself as you're going through this release. Sion shares, I was so tight at the start, but now have streams of clarity. Wonderful, Ashe. Ashe. That's wonderful. Yeah, allow yourself, give yourself the compassion because it's a lot. It may not seem like a lot, but when we actively think about what we want to clear and we use the elements to do so, it's going to create open thoughts of clarity. It's going to create the release of emotions. It's going to create an opportunity to feel like something has been lifted. Not just feel, but know that something has been lifted. Um, it's so interesting. I can even speak for myself. What I wrote down on the paper, even when we were doing the reflection, was not what I thought I needed to release or what I thought I needed to create movement in. But very clearly, because we're doing this work, this came to the top and was really clear about what we're releasing at this time. And so for that, I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be in community with each of you at this time as well. Thank you so much for being here. So we're going to close out today. What I'd love for you all to do is take a moment to, first of all, just breathe. Take a deep breath in and breathe out. Again, deep breath in and breathe out. Last time, deep breath in and breathe out. Take a moment to warm up your hand chakras. And now that you have released, now that you have cleared the path, now that you're feeling clarity, I want you to place your hand where you need some love and compassion for yourself right now. Give yourself a moment to be in your body, to give yourself the love and the nourishment that you need, not to overthink it, not to create more work, but just to allow it to sit. We first created a mirror and understood our truth. And now we're creating and having the opportunity for small actions to create movement for us. Today, we've done our work. You've honored truth, you've named what's been standing in your way, and you've chosen to release it. That's not a small thing. And so, throughout your day today, ensure that you are being compassionate to yourself. Ensure that you are giving yourself and rewarding yourself for what this is. I am instinctively said after we finished, I think I'm having ice cream today. I don't know where that came from, but the little girl in me was like, yep, you deserve ice cream today. You deserve a treat today. This is an opportunity for you to honor the work that you're doing in every small way that you can is really, really important. We've carried what you've carried in the weight of unspoken truths, postponed choices, and unnamed fears. What we are carrying out is the ability to have clarity, intention, and the beginning of forward movement. This is the way in which we are able to embody this change in frequency, how it would allow for us in this season to plant new seeds and watch them and cultivate them to watch them grow. This is the space where we do those kinds of things. So tomorrow we arrive at the spring equinox, right? That threshold of balance and renewal, and we turn our cleared, nourished energy toward the season ahead. I want you to take your time today, be gentle with yourself, to get good rest because you earned it. Again, this may seem like very small work, but it's actually really big work. And so, what you have done today is you've cleared a pathway so that you're able to really move into tomorrow with clarity around what you want this equinox to bring for you and how you want to use this energy to cultivate new opportunities for yourself. Movement begins when truth is honored and you have begun. I thank each and every one of you for being here with us this morning. What a powerful, powerful session. Again, remember to discard your release papers. Remember to be gentle with yourself. Remember to give yourself a reward. Remember to allow yourself to create new pathways of thinking about how you want to move forward. I'm deeply, deeply honored to be here working with you all, and I so look forward to working with you all on the spring equinox. Check your emails for the items that you will need for ritual tomorrow, because tomorrow we will be working, doing some candle work to begin that process. Again, thank each and every one of you for being here. Have an amazing, amazing day.